Hello everyone, this is Brandon, and I wanted to do a bit of a discussion regarding the resolution of the game Froghop. So, lately I've been getting some comments, and I've been kind of going through thoughts lately about the resolution for the game. So as you can see, the game's resolution is actually 160 by 90, which is natively a 16:9 ratio, aspect ratio. So, no matter how you scale it, it's always going to go, widescreen, with 1280 by 720 or 1080 by 1920. So that's already taken care of with the widescreen resolution. Now the problem here, though, is people have been getting concerning thoughts about how the camera is too close to the character, which is a fair point. It's a fair opinion at least, but so I've been kind of dabbling with different ideas about what I could do to help deal with that. So now I mentioned the aspect ratio thing because if I were to just add, let's say, so for example, my character right now is this block pattern, these blocks I'm standing on, these two blocks, this is 2 units, right? So I make 1 unit for this character. So if I were to add maybe 5 units of those blocks to the side of the screen to make it, so you could see farther, it's not going to be natively a 16:9 aspect ratio game anymore. In fact, when you start scaling it or even go full screen, the pixels will start to kind of stretch or squish. You might notice that with some games that render pixel art at a high resolution, but it actually creates subpixels and it doesn't look very pretty. So that's kind of a problem when it comes to just adding a few extra, just adding, basically if I were to just stretch this window out a little farther so I could see a little bit more. And so innately the game's demo introduces the camera function where its default is A, and then if you hold a direction you can actually shift your camera. So that was intended just to kind of be a fast way to scout ahead. But it seems that, some people might not bother with that, and so there's a couple of problems, of course, as you can see with the resolution. Personally, I've never had too many problems, and the bosses actually work better with the smaller resolution, the one that's right now. So we're gonna get right to showing you guys the larger resolution. So let's get to that. This is the larger resolution of the game. As you can see, you can see a lot with this game, but let's go to a level that maybe exemplifies this a little better. So this is level 2 of the Froghop demo, and actually I'm going to give out this game file that contains the widescreen or the double resolution. So this is actually double the resolution of the original game. So if you imagine a 160 by 90 game, it's now a 320 by 180 resolution. So it's still natively 16:9 aspect ratio, but as you can see, look how much you can see. Literally, there's no problem with seeing anything on screen. Your field of view is so big that, you don't have any worry of, in fact, camera function's still in this demo, but as you can see, it's almost not even necessary to have the camera function anymore because you can see so much. So you'd think that this is almost better, and it really feels different compared to the original one. The original one feels it does feel kind of classic, I guess, and maybe a little bit faster because of the fact that you have this camera shifting with you so quickly. But I definitely would say that the double resolution, the larger resolution option is it's very relaxing to play because of the fact that you can see everything. Now, that being said, you think, okay, well, it seems like it's just a better option, but the problem is there's levels like the original. Here, I'm just going to go back to the menu. You can see this is the tutorial level, and it actually only takes up, the y-axis only takes up 90 pixels. And so because I doubled the resolution to 320 by 180, there's this extra 90 pixels at the above. Yeah, as you can see, there's nothing there. And so that makes a kind of an annoying problem with having to redesign and redo all the levels of the game. Not all of them, but it's a lot of work. So, and some levels work out okay. It won't be too bad. But again, it's just a lot of redoing, and It's kind of a problem with some levels, and it doesn't look very pretty at all for some of them. And some levels like 1-1 is the very first level of the game, technically, what I would call the first level. It's not really meant to be anything vast, and it's supposed to be very simple, but again, it's a very difficult decision because some levels have to be completely redone to make sure they don't look completely off. Because, I mean, this definitely does not look very good. But again, if you take a bigger level like this, level 2, or even level 3, you can see so much on screen. It's unbelievable. It's almost the better option for bigger levels. Now that I've kind of gone over like how I feel about the bigger levels, I think it's time to kind of go over one other problem that is going to happen, which is the bosses. When I work with a smaller resolution, the bosses innately just feel a lot more epic than the larger resolution. And the part of the reason why is because they take up more of the screen. So I'm actually going to show you guys the smaller resolution boss, and then I'll show you guys the larger resolution. Okay, so here we go. This is the boss room of the game, and we're just going to go ahead and show you guys the boss. Now, part of the problem is the small resolution, the bosses, generally feel pretty grand because they take up so much of the screen. But as you can see, the problem, well, you'll see the problem when we work with a double resolution. So, yeah. So as you can see, the boss is actually pretty epic because of the fact that he takes up more of the screen. So I don't think the bosses are ever really a problem in terms of how much of the screen they take in the smaller resolution. But I think the problem, you'll see it when I show the larger resolution. So that's what the boss looks like in the 160 by 90 pixel resolution. Here you go. This is the double resolution, and this is what the boss room looks like. So as you can see, I can already see everything already. It's not too hard for me to see those 2 hearts there, so that's nice. And okay, so we're gonna fall down this hole, and yeah, it's pretty ugly. As you can see, the boss kind of warps in and out, and he definitely doesn't feel as grand or as epic as the smaller resolution. So there's a couple of problems already that arise with a double resolution, because it basically could involve just having to redesign all the bosses, and that's just not fun. Of course, it's easy to consider it fun if you're not the developer of the game, but I'm just trying to point out that it's not like an easy task just to have to rehash everything. Just because it's pixel art and it's a low resolution doesn't mean it's an easy option out of it. So the other economic option I could think of is forcing the game to render 160 by 90 for boss rooms only, but keeping it 320 by 180 for bigger rooms. So there's other ideas like that. There's also the idea of maybe potentially coding some kind of way of having a camera zoom in and out so that it adjusts according to the level. But again, I mean, that's not really for certain. So that's the other graceful solution I can think of. So let's be honest here, the boss is kind of underwhelming. He only takes up about, X-wise, he only takes up about maybe like 1/10 of the screen, maybe 1/12. So it's definitely not as epic. So that's the other solution I can think of, is instead of having to redo the entire game and all the levels, well, not the entire game, but having to fix all the levels that are small and redoing all the bosses, the other option is coding, either just forcing the camera to zoom in for like boss rooms to go down to 160 by 90, or we could go with the we could just maybe somehow figure out a way to have a dynamic camera that could zoom in and out for any kind of level size. But you will see subpixels. So definitely give your opinions and your thoughts. Don't just leave a yes or no comment or any sort of irrelevant comment, because I'm going to completely ignore it. This is kind of a vote, but it's also more of it's just a discussion with you guys, because again, if I do go about this double resolution or have to add some sort of dynamic camera, the game's going to take a lot longer than it will, to be released. And I hate saying this to anyone, but like I just want to get this game done. And I know people hate hearing that, and they just want me to make a good game. But the reality is, like, this game, like, it needs to be done. It's not something I want to spend my entire life doing. But that being said, I don't think it's right to leave you guys out of the discussion. And I think it's only fair that you guys take part in helping me figure this out. So again, if we go with the double resolution and like on top of that the dynamic camera or any sort of thing like that, you know, that could really end up delaying the game a little bit, quite a bit, not a little. It might take a while, but otherwise, if we don't, then I'm just going to stick with what we have. I'm just going to finish up the game and make sure to add extra features that I have not quite revealed yet. And I think that'll be it. So again, please let's have a good discussion on the Steam Greenlight page. I have it on the down in the discussions below. So please give your thoughts on this, because this is a very hard decision for me to figure out. So thank you all for watching, and please let's make it happen.